yeah, obviously, really tough way to lose. Anytime losing this league is tough, and when you play so competitive for 4.5 quarters of all three phases and really doing some good stuff, and all gets overshadowed by one play. It's an unfortunate part of this game, and we got to be better when our best is needed. That's the name of this game, is be at your best when your best is needed, and we weren't at that point in that one particular play, and they were, and they executed, and got to tip our hats to them, but we got to get back to work today and put our best foot forward.
I asked Sean this earlier this week, but in terms of special teams in a vacuum, it seems like when something seems to be getting more consistent than something like whack-a-mole a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
What has to happen for you guys to put together a complete game in every phase of special teams?
We have to have like a one snap clear mentality, and I think that's every phase. That's football. That's sports in general. It's life. I mean, things are going to come at you, and there's always going to be a little bit of a roller coaster and everything. Never going to be perfect. There's always going to be corrections, but at the end of the day, we've got to be more consistent and realize that the last play doesn't have an effect, good or bad, on the next play, and that's the reality of it. And like you said, I mean, there's always we're working on one phase, and you get you're so focused on that, and you get better there. Then you lose a little bit of focus on another one, and it's the time frames of which we practice and things like that. And we just got to be better with our time and more attentive to detail on each phase and each play, one snap at a time.
As that return was unfolding, kind of what was going through your mind as he's kind of moving up the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot, within it. You see the protection's good, and you get out into coverage, and you feel good about the net being spread originally, and then the ball's more in the middle of the field. Guys converge, a little too much as opposed to keeping the net cast longer with the way the punt was, and we kind of squeezed a little bit too early. You still feel good. You got Royce, who's been a really good tackler for us, there, and we've got to be there to help him. As soon as he's making contact, we got to have the second, third defender there. As he gets up the sideline, I thought he was really close there to the sideline. It looked unfortunately, it looked very familiar to the preseason where, he's 6 inches from the sideline, and we have three guys that can't get him shoved out of bounds. And, at that point, I was just waiting for the big screen and trying to see if someone, because we had three guys touch him on the sideline. I thought someone had to have forced him out right there. And at the end of the day, we didn't, and we've got to be better and got to execute and win in that situation.
How did you handle last week when you guys signed Mason Crosby?
Yep.
And Lucas is. I mean, do you say anything to him or is you just let it play out like he'll rise to the occasion, or?
Yeah, I mean, we've had conversations. Obviously, we talk every day, and the attention to the things that need to get improved, and always areas. There's always something to coach up with every player. Specialists are no different. And with him, there was certain cues and things, and it was a little bit of a motivating factor for him to have a veteran guy come in here and think, hey, this guy's coming to take this job and coming to be active on Sunday to go play, and and it was a little bit of a time for him to reset and not feel like on Wednesday, Thursday, oh my gosh, I got to be, I've got to be 100% throughout the week. And he just locked in, and he hit the ball great all week, and it showed up on game day. And, in the reality of it is, that's really the hope, was that he would respond in that way. And, you got a young guy with a lot of talent, and be able to go out there and handle that adversity and that pressure. Because Thursday when he kicked, it was as game-like as you were ever getting a practice for competing for the job for Sunday, and went out and responded and glad it carried over to Sunday. He had that same attack mindset, and sometimes you need that little reset and focus. And he's a really good, really talented kicker. And the reality of it is he's young, and kickers are going to miss kicks at some point. The best do. Just the way it kind of goes. And, he'll probably miss a kick again at some point. Again, it is what it is, but how do you respond? Coach talks about it all the time in every phase for every player. It's our response and how we attack it, and that was the most encouraging thing for him last week.
That's kind of like.
When you watched him line up to take that kick at the end of regulation, what was going through your mind?
Hope the protection's good. Make sure. I felt really confident about the way he's been kicking the ball. Operationally, we were really good with the snap hold, kick obviously down the pipe, and good protection in the interior, and that's what you're really looking for, is just give him a chance, give him an opportunity. The offense did an unbelievable job getting the ball down there, putting him in position to hit not a long field goal either. So that was a blessing to be able to go out there and settle his nerves, and he knows that big moments he can make that. 51-yarder there at the end of the first half, that's a big kick to keep that game really nice and tight. And then obviously the clutch kick there to tie it up is really encouraging to see from a young guy.
What, in terms of Alex going on IR and bringing in a new long snapper, what are the challenges, if any, going into this week with a change there?
There's always challenge when you have change, and that's every position. You have different guys, different guards, different tackles, wings, like that, all in different phases of the game. No different than when your Ernest Joneses were out for a game or things like that. You miss time, guys miss time, and it's the next man up mentality. And the guys rallying around them, being behind them. Yesterday was a big day just to get acclimated to the operation procedures for field goals, for punts, the cadences, block protections, all that stuff. He did really well. Come out today, tune it in, and get him going the next couple of days and get into Sunday. And he's done it. That's the one best thing. He's been here, knows a lot of the guys here, knows a lot of the players, the personnel around here, as well as our system's very similar to the one he's been in. So not a huge change for him, not a big deal. And, he's been in these moments before. He's played a long time and played some meaningful football late in seasons. So feel really confident about where he's at.
A lot of times when you have more veteran special teams units, you hear guys talking about 4-4 guys.
Mm-hmm.
At what point, when you're taking over a young group, do you start to establish who those guys are and who they're going to be? Obviously, with factoring in there's some churn and
Yeah, I think there's always that, and I think guys already took pride in that coming in. I mean, you look at it before I got here, evaluated the roster, started figuring out who I thought was going to be those core 4 guys. Things happen, guys go to offense or defense or whatever, they end up on injury or whatever, guys on P squad, and you elevate them, and you're trying to figure out where they fit and being able to move the pieces around to be the best. And then you want to build the cohesiveness of like time on task together and how they work in cohesion together. And that's kind of been the one challenge this year. I think a little bit more moving parts, younger group, trying to get them in the right spots to where we feel really, really good about working together and getting those reps. Because the more reps you get together, it's no difference. I think when you talk about offensive line, I think special teams is kind of similar in that regard, especially punt protection is, for all those years, New York, we had the same 5 starting offensive linemen, and are any of them world beaters by themselves? Maybe not, but together they were pretty darn good. And that's the same deal with a punt protection and core group of how they play off each other, how they fit and trail and fill, and who's going to be out in front, and how the guy in front is going to take on the block. Is he going to slip and avoid, and you're going to make him right, or is he going to 2-gap and you got to kind of slow and press? All those type of things, and it's just time on task and reps and continuing to build that continuity.
We've spoken with you since Ethan Evans was Special Teams Player of the Week. How has his season gone in your estimation?
Yeah, I think he's done a really good job. There's always things you want back. There's big plays left on the table in some instances, whether it's the situational football. I mean, we've had a couple where we had to hit touchbacks based upon the last punts of the game, and it's like just one step, get it off. It's either got to be out of bounds or end zone because the game's over. That's a good thing to be involved in those situations where you're winning the game. You feel really confident about winning the game if you just get the punt off. It hurts his stats and things like that, but he executed the assignment. The plus 50 area has improved. He had a good punt last week. We just missed it. Ended up stepping on the end zone there. But that's been an area of focus for him, and he continues to get better there. Most importantly, I mean, the thing I'm probably the most proud of is the way he's attacked holding. For a guy who did all 3, kicking, punting, field goal kicks, everything in college, not being a holder, coming in and putting the work in that's required to be a professional holder. And he has done that every day, getting a million snaps, routines, hand snaps, bad ball drills, everything, so he can handle it. And that's his hands have improved dramatically, and that's obviously showing up in our field goal kickers as well, being able to adapt to different holds, different kicks, different kickers, things like that. And that's really important for his position.